So here's the thing, y'all. When stuff like this happens, I'm always at such a loss because I think the reasons that those that started John Yates fan club in the first place were people who saw problematic behavior in a man who at that time had a lot of power, and he misused that power, and he used it to attack women, children. He made racist remarks. The man is the most misogynistic man I've ever seen in my life. Think about it. Whenever he goes after a woman, how does he insult her? Right away, her body. Starts calling her fat. Starts talking about her, what does he always say, her low-hanging clit. Starts calling her a whore. Those childish kind of insults, instead of bringing to attention that she did something that wasn't nice, or shaming her for some kind of bad behavior that she did, he starts calling her a whore, or fat, or talking about her genitals. At that time, when this all started, he had a lot of followers. When he would go live, there would be so many people. He had so many cast giving him shout-outs. He needed that power taken away because he was abusing it. Back then, when he threatened to go after someone, he had the support that person really was gone after. And that's what needed to quit. That's what needed to be stopped. That was our whole point of everything we did. Because back then, he would go live on Instagram mostly, in the middle of the night, and do and say these horrible things that caused real harm to real people, and then he would delete it. And in the light of day, nobody knew what he'd been up to. Especially the cast. So they didn't think he was a bad guy. They thought he was just a blogger. It's funny he always calls himself a blogger. He doesn't have a blog anywhere. And he goes live and makes videos. That's not blogging, but anyway, I digress. But through the efforts of us that started on early, these things started being documented. He loves to say, oh, that was 2 years ago, that was 4 years ago, that was 6 years ago, that was 8 years ago, that was 10 years ago. Well, when you say it like that, do you not realize that's a pattern, sir? When you have stuff from 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, this is who you are. And that is exactly why we keep that stuff. You can't say, oh, it's that many years ago when you've been doing it all along. It's who you are, and that's the proof that that's who you are. You didn't just have a bad time in your life and mess up, and then be sorry, and then stop doing it. That's who you've been throughout your history on social media. And so there were those of us who felt that was wrong and needed to be brought to light so that he could be stopped. And we did it. We were very successful. Once the cast became aware of the kind of stuff he did, they left him. They're not giving him shout-outs. Do y'all remember how many shout-outs he used to get? How many cast interviews he used to get? That's gone. And that ain't coming back. Because people saw the things he did 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. And they didn't want no part of it. Those of us who did this, we weren't doing this just to pick at him. We weren't doing this just to be mean. There was a whole point to it all, to stop him from doxing people and hurting people. And now, he's a joke. He don't have that power he used to have. You saw him on his live the other night, and he didn't think enough people were watching, so he went to his Instagram and did a quick little story saying what he was on his YouTube talking about. He couldn't get people over to come to his YouTube. A couple people came, you saw the numbers go up by less than 20 and go right back down. That power is gone, and it's gone because of what we did. We had a purpose. We weren't just some crazies out there trying to be mean to somebody. We wanted to stop a monster. And we did. Now, let's get to what's been going on more recently. The sad fact is, even though what we were doing and trying to do was to accomplish something good, when people see something like that, there are some people who are just attracted to hate and mess. So some people came over, not with good motive. They just thought, oh, it'd be fun to pick on this man. And that did indeed happen. As much as we wanted John to stop what he was doing, we didn't want people doing to him what he was doing to other people. So when people tried doxing things and posting things about his mom, we deleted it. We banned them. We didn't even let his sister speak on Reddit. She had to go elsewhere to tell her story, and we felt sorry for her. But we always had rules and things set in place so that we didn't become like John. When we started banning some of these people, they went to other places on Reddit and went wild. Wild as I don't even know what's as wild as some of the things that go on Reddit in other subs. But here's the thing. We have held all along why we don't like John and why John needs all the power taken away from him and his platform. That has never changed for all the reasons that I mentioned. mostly for women and children's sakes. My gran taught me that with all her charities to help women and children. She's a good woman. She loves being a woman, and she's supportive of women, and she taught me that. That was my point. My whole point wasn't to just be mean. It was to stop a man who was harming women and children. So when I see people who just gave too much, more than I was ever willing to give, with websites like Geneva, we had Siwa using John's arm pictures on her lives. We had Amber. I never followed those people. I never cheered those people on. I warned against them in Reddit, saying, y'all, don't be fooled by this. Don't follow this. And there were some that didn't listen, and they jumped right in, because some people weren't there for the right reasons. And the ones doing too much always gave me pause, because I wondered why. Why are they doing this? And in time, their true colors would always show when they go back to John. But here's my thing. When you have dedicated days and days and days of your life, more than I have ever dedicated, I've been around a long time, but look at my YouTube channel. How many videos do I have? How far apart are they? I don't do this every day of my life. It has been a very long time since I have even watched a complete John live. I can't stomach it much anymore. He says I'm bringing up stuff from years ago. I made those videos years ago. They're on my laptop because they were on John Yates Fan Club, the original. They were made at the time he was doing that stuff, but they're still on my laptop, so I moved them over to my YouTube. I didn't just now make some of that stuff. I made a few songs since then, but that's mostly old stuff I made at the time he was doing that stuff. And I posted it there, so I had a place to post it, and I did. Because it's a pattern of his behavior, what he's been doing for years to women. But when someone is staying up all night recording everything that man says, that's too much. So I have always been leery of those kind of people. Geneva with her website, now this stuff that's going down. And then you find out the truth about someone in the end, because we were championing women's rights, children's rights, and stopping a monster. But when they take everything and run straight to John, what were they championing in the first place? Did they even have a problem with him and the things he was doing and saying? Even in a lot of cases, things he was doing and saying about themselves. The things he said to Siwa and about Siwa, horrible. The things he said to Jules and about Jules, horrible. And they went running, and Amber, same thing, and they all went running to him. Why? You can do this for a moral purpose like I did, and the majority of the people on the original John Yates Fan Club. It was about moral outrage and stopping a monster. But if you go run to John after, you can't claim that that's why you were there in the first place, because John didn't change. If you're okay with him now, you didn't have a problem with him in the first place. You just liked a chance to be mean. What does that say about you? If John's personality and the things he does to people don't bother you now, you can't claim they bothered you then. So why were you doing it? Why were you devoting every night of your life recording this man and going live during the days talking about this man over and over again if it wasn't moral outrage? Y'all are just like those evil kids that catch a butterfly and pull its wings off. That's what y'all are. Because you weren't morally outraged. If you were morally outraged, even if you fell out with some of the people on this side, you wouldn't run to John. And now there you are, saying, oh, things got so dark on that side. What are you talking about? People stopped liking you, because something about you is so broken. And when you lost your friends and your support, you run straight to the man you supposedly were so outraged over in the first place. What is wrong with you? Do y'all not see? If he's okay now, he hasn't changed. You don't have a problem with who he is, so why were you being so mean to him for all that time? That's a question he needs to be asking y'all. He needs to be asking y'all, why were you doing that? Why were you attacking me all those years? If you're fine with who I am, was it just fun to be mean? Because that's how I see y'all. Y'all were just pulling wings off a butterfly. Or those kids who use a magnifying glass to scorch ants while they're just doing what they do. If you didn't have a moral reason or purpose behind what you were doing to John, that's all you were. You were just torturing someone for fun. And he should be nervous about being around y'all. I've been very clear. Those of us on Original Fan Club have been very clear why we don't like John. There will never come a time, no matter what happens to me, that I would suddenly be alright with him. because I'm not alright with the kind of person he is and the kind of things he does. If I lost support of every last person on social media, I'm still not gonna go running to this man, because this man is horrible. Now we have someone who's turning over chats, and she don't even care that there are innocent people on there who didn't do anything to her. What does that say about her? Some of these people need help. They really, really do. But y'all, seriously, stop thinking that people on the internet are your friends. Don't meet up with these people in real life. Don't tell them personal things about your life. Especially in a big old group chat. It always goes wrong. Make your friends in real life. People you know, people you see interacting in their real lives. I just feel so sick looking at all this happen today. I can't even believe it. But seriously, when people fall out, they always run to John, and I'll never understand it. Why were you fighting him all that time then? If you're just fine with who he is, if you want to be his friend, maybe you were just jealous like he always says. Maybe you just wanted to be somebody on social media, and it didn't matter, and when it wasn't happening on this side, you ran to his side, because now you can go panel with him. How exciting. Look deep into your souls, because if you picked on this man and dedicated every night of your life getting stuff on this man, and now you're his friend, you got some deep troubles inside you. That's for certain. That's for certain. I can't even believe what I'm seeing these days, but enjoy your time with him. You know what he's like. Y'all who recorded every word that came out of his mouth, y'all know exactly what he's like. He's your friend now because he thinks he's going to get something tremendous out of y'all. You're going to supply him with some great insight that's going to advance him somehow in his life. What did you give him, really? Nothing he can do anything with. All y'all did is show who you really are. And then what's going to come of it? You going to hang around John's chat for a long time? He'll get bored with you eventually. I mean, what are you even going to do? And you hurt a lot of innocent people in the meantime by exposing people who did no harm to you at all. Well, you're on the right side now. If that's who you are, if that's the kind of thing you do, you're on the right side now. And good riddance. But I still say this side has won. What we set out to do was take away power from a monster so he couldn't hurt innocent women. And that's happened. He's just a silly old drunk. I mean, anyone coming to look at his channel for real information and then seeing this mess? You think they're sticking around? He's always going to have these mindless hags that want to send him money for some broken reason. I don't know what makes a person that pathetic, but y'all just go on giving him your money. That's never going to stop. We can't stop that. And that's fine, because y'all aren't innocent. You see everything he does, and you're fine with it. So, I don't feel sorry for y'all handing him money, being used like ATMs. I don't feel sorry for y'all at all. But as far as cast support and people actually coming to his channel to hear something real, that's all gone. All he is just a yenta now. A drunk, broken yenta. Begging women for money. And that's fine by me. So y'all enjoy it over there. That's where you really belong.